What's up, YouTube? Hefe coming to you, Captain Awesome's Fish Room. It's Q&A Friday, and I have some pretty good questions that I got from some subscribers that I'm going to answer. And I gotta say, I'm really digging this this Friday's Q&A. So what we're looking at here is the questions I've gotten asked, and we're going to start off in no particular order. Vince Fryer asked, are color variations primarily a result of genetics, or is it mainly a matter of care or age? And if the markings aren't what I expected, would good housing and diet make colors better, or is the fish stuck with the colors it has? The color on your fish, guys, is genetic. You can't change it, okay? Now, I'm going to start off by saying that, and when you buy a color-enhancing food, that's simply all it does, is it enhances the color that your fish already has. Now, by enhancing, I don't mean make better. Now, your fish has their genetic color, and to optimize that color, to make it the best it can be, you want to feed them a good diet and give them great water quality and stuff like that. Now, enhancing, that doesn't mean that, like I said, that you're going to make the color better. You're just going to make it stand out to its full potential. Okay, for instance, I feed my red devil krill. Well, I feed all my fish krill, but this is really more particular to the red devil because krill has a mineral, maybe it's a vitamin. I think it's a mineral called L-carnitine, which actually enhances yellows, reds, oranges, and stuff like that. Now, excuse me, guys, I think I'm getting sick. By feeding this red devil here krill and giving it good water quality and a good staple diet, his colors are the best they can be. Now, I could have two red devils off of the same parents and feed them the exact same food, give them the same water quality, and they're each going to be different. That's just the genetic makeup of the fish, okay? You can't change a fish's color. You can't make the fish's colors better. In regards to, if you have an orange fish like the red devil here, you can't make it a different shade of orange. Now, of course, it can be more vibrant if you give them good water quality and a good diet, but, you're not going to actually change the color of the fish. If you have a barred Midas, their colors can be darker and, it can be lighter. Now, if the fish is stressed out, of course, they're going to, wash out their colors and stuff. But, there's not anything out there that can change the genetic code of a fish, okay? You can't make a fish's colors, better or more vibrant or anything like that by by giving them color-enhancing foods. Now, when I say vibrant or better, I mean that you can't actually change the color that the fish has. I mean, of course, you can make them more, stand out vibrant. You can make them, basically you can make their color stand out to their full potential by the water quality and the food that you feed, but you can't change the color. The color that they're born with is the color that they're stuck with. So next question, Dahlyvh asked, what does the F in F0 through F3 stand for? I only go up to F3, guys. You can go higher than that if you want. And what does the L in the pleco order labeling system stand for, and why do I not keep them in my tanks? Okay, the F in F0 through F3 stands for filial. It's the filial scale. The actual definition for that word is, and I quote, pertaining to the sequence of generations following the parental generation, each generation being designated by an F followed by a subscript number indicating its place in the genotype sequence. Basically what that breaks down to is, of course we went over last week what a genotype is. It's two of the same species of fish. So I have a breeding pair of Parachromis managuensis here. Okay, so that's the same genotype. They are wild caught, which makes them F0 in the filial scale. Of course, they're probably a higher F number in the wild because, when you pull a fish from the wild, they were obviously born from, some parent. You just don't know which generation they're from. But when you bring them in your aquarium, they're F0, which means wild caught. And the fry that they have produced are F1 on the filial scale, which means first generation off of wild caught parents. You can't have hybrids on the filial scale. It just simply can't work that way. Now, the L inside the Pleco labeling system is, it actually stands for Loricarids, or Loricariids, or however you want to say that. I say Loricarids, which is, the actual the species name of that type of catfish, the sucker catfish. Now, the L number is used until that specific fish is actually described scientifically and officially. Then that L number is retired. So the first Loricarid that was put on the L system was L1. And that has been retired now because that fish is actually scientifically documented and researched. And then after it's retired, it's just retired. It doesn't start all over. I think the L numbers are up in the high 300s right now. The last time I looked, it was a long time ago. Now, I want to talk about the name Pleco real quick, okay? You have all these different plecos, like a common pleco, or clown pleco, or zebra pleco. There's only one true pleco, and that's the scientific name of that fish is Hyposamus plecosamus, tongue twister. That's the only correctly named pleco. Okay, a clown pleco is not a pleco. There's only one pleco. The word pleco was assigned to those types of fish through importers that had to label these fish in a way to get hobbyists to buy them, to recognize them, stuff like that. So there's actually only one kind of pleco, which is the tongue twister, Plecosamus, and that's the only when you call that a pleco, it's the only fish that is, when you call it a pleco, is correctly called a pleco. The clown pleco is, it's still on the L numbering system. It's still a Loricarid, but it's not a pleco, guys. Just to clear that up. And as far as why I don't keep them in my tank, these types of fish, they're mostly active at night, which is fine with me. The fish that I have don't mind nighttime action. It may stress them out a little bit, but the reason I don't keep them is simply because they are a nighttime fish that, scrub algae off of rocks, your glass, driftwood, and so on and so on. Now, at night, your fish are actually sleeping, while that suckermouth or pleco, quote-unquote, is swimming around eating. Now, when your fish are sleeping, they're stationary, slowly moving around, or just sitting there. And plecos can and will scrub on your fish. Creating ulcers, scrubbing off their slime coat, their scales, and, that can, really create a problem in the aquarium, guys. I've kept them in the past. I think everybody has. But as far as why I don't keep them now is because they can and will scrub on your fish. I don't care what species it is. They can and will scrub on your fish, okay? And they will actually, if you're breeding fish, they will eat eggs. They will eat fry. And that's just why I don't keep them. I love them. They're beautiful fish. I actually had a 13-inch Plecostomus once. He was beautiful. And there's several different color types of that fish actually too. The Hypostomus Plecostomus. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, that's why I don't keep them in my tank. That's what the L stands for, and that's what the F stands for. Now, John WRAY 86, John Rye or John Ray 86, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, asks, is it safe to change your substrate all at once? And what kind of sponge media can I use in my external filters besides the media that company makes for that filter? No, it is not okay to change all of your substrate at once. You know, your substrate is actually a living, breathing organism, okay? Now, of course, the rocks aren't, but the beneficial bacteria that is inside of your substrate, you know, breaking down the fish waste, breaking down the uneaten food, breaking down ammonia into nitrites and nitrites into nitrates. And there's actually another bacteria that breaks nitrates into a gas to exit the system. Now, that's why you cannot change all of your substrate at once. There are a few tricks that you can do to change your substrate, but you just can't change it all at once. The first trick is to change half of your substrate or a quarter of your substrate. Make sure you put a divider in, and then about a week, 2 weeks later, do another section, and so on and so on. Or you could put your new substrate in a bucket with holes in the bottom to where aquarium water is running through that bucket, either in or outside of your tank, and then cycle it that way, and then you can change all of your substrate at once. But other than that, no, you cannot change it all at once. You can crash your system and possibly kill all of your fish. Next is, what kind of sponge media can I use in my external filters besides the media that that specific company makes? Actually, anything that is a sponge you can use, okay? Now, I wouldn't recommend the the tighter sponge, or the less coarse sponges, yeah, guys, my fish room is a mess. I'll be the first one to admit it. Oh, example right here. I wouldn't use sponges like this right here. That really dense sponge, because it can clog really easy. Use a coarser sponge or pillow matting that you can buy at Walmart. You can buy a big old bag for like $5. I use that in several of my hang-on back filters. You can use you know, this that blue and white filter pad is a sponge. You can cut up and use this reticulated foam from a hydro sponge or any other kind of sponge. You know, you can use any kind of sponge, and the great thing about sponges is not only is it mechanical filtration, but it's also biological. Because of the surface area, it gives a lot of room for biological bacteria to grow and you know, help your system. And that was the last question. From a DIY standpoint, you know, just any kind of mechanical filtration that you can get your hands on that's a sponge, you can use inside of a external filter, and it'll do great. The cheapest and best method I would recommend is using pillow batting. You get a lot of it for a small price, and it works fantastic. I actually have some in that Aqua Clear that's on my 30 right there, and it does great. And you can also rinse it out, or just take the dirty piece out and put a little bit more in. It's very versatile. So, without further ado, folks, you know, send those questions in. I enjoy answering them. It was fun. And until next time, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. Hope y'all enjoyed Q&A Friday. And have a great Friday. More videos to come. Hopefully I can start this construction soon and, you know, give y'all something fun to watch. But until then, send those questions in, guys. And I look forward to it. And we'll see y'all next time. Adios.